Well, good morning, and welcome to Talk About It Live with Frank and Manny. How you doing there, Frank?
Hey, Manny. Good morning, brother.
Good morning. We're good to see you.
Good morning,
man.
everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Thank you for tuning in this morning on Taco Tuesday. Of course, I got my taco,
Oh yeah, got my potato, egg, and bean.
potato and bean. I got my usual machacado con frijoles. So, man, I'm in heaven right now because I'm actually kind of hungry this morning.
Yeah. Well, I walked in and Manny had some coffee brewed and everything. Man, it's a great start to a morning here in Texas.
You can't go wrong with coffee and tacos, right, on Taco Tuesday. And so, again, folks, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Taco About It Live with Frank and Manny. We got a lot to talk about. Man, I feel like I've been away it was like a long weekend, man.
Yeah.
It was just, and a lot of stuff going on and whatnot, even especially here in Del Rio. We got the National Guard here, right? We got more aliens still coming through, illegal aliens still coming through.
Yeah.
So, folks, there's still a border crisis going on. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the community as well. And even nationally, Frank, in regard to mandates as
Yeah.
well, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. The betrayal of the Biden administration betrayal of the United States Border Patrol, and how they're treating our agents and OFO and all of our federal agents, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and so real quick as well, folks. Let's just not forget the local scene. We need folks to get involved. If anything has been shown this last few months since Biden became president, is elections matter. And so right now, folks are gearing up. Manny and I had breakfast the other day with a candidate for mayor here in Del Rio, a good man, a great man that has the interest of Del Rio at heart. So he's gearing up to run for. He's gearing up to run. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, I heard it, bro.
Everybody started dancing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gearing up to run for office, mayor here, and that just it's just a shout out to anybody that's considering running for office. Man, we need you, from the county judge to the county clerk, all the way down to city council, hospital, the hospital district, and the school district. We need concerned patriots to get in the mix, get in the fight, get in the trenches. Think about it, talk it over with your loved ones, your family, pray about it, go before the Lord. But we need you to be involved because elections have consequences, and the decisions politicians are making are a huge part of the problems we're having in our country right now.
Well, I agree, Frank. I agree, and we saw that with this last elections, and now the primary is going to be coming up here pretty soon. We got a lot of good people running that we know. We even talked with the Texas State Attorney General the other day. We had breakfast with him as well.
Ken Paxton.
Yeah, Ken Paxton. We had tacos, so that was pretty good. And so I liked what he had to say. I liked very much what he had to say. But Frank, I agree with you, brother, that we need some God-fearing people to get in office.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would discourage God-fearers to get in office, religious people to get in office, because a lot of people say, especially in the body, that we shouldn't mix faith and politics, right?
Yeah.
But folks, that's completely wrong. Nowhere in the scriptures does it even teach that.
Yeah.
And actually, in reality, years ago, it was actually required that you belonged to a congregation.
Yeah.
When you ran for office here in the United States, anyway, it was actually a requirement. And many of our early founding fathers were, of course, men of God. Belonged to a congregation. A couple of presidents were actually. I think Garfield was a preacher, was a pastor. And I think he even baptized people later on after the day of his inauguration.
Wow.
So we had and of course
Baptized by a president.
Yes, yeah, and I even mentioned it many times before on this broadcast that we had the Black Robe Regiment, who was basically responsible for the revolution. They were a bunch of pastors and clergymen, Frank, who preached with their Bibles and their pistols at the pulpits, encouraging Americans to fight for freedom.
Yeah.
And the reason they called them the Black Robe Regiment is because they had their black robes on, but underneath they had militia uniforms on. So it was amazing.
Well, and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, bro, was a person who came and created conflict. He created division.
Yeah.
He separated the carnal from the spiritual. He turned over the tables, man.
He sure did.
He turned them over, and there was a righteous indignation
Yeah.
and a fiery anger that burned within him at the injustice, the sin, the hypocrisy of leaders of his time. And so that's where we get our fire from, folks. is because we are children of the King.
Yeah, and righteous indignation is a real thing. You know, it's not. The Bible tells us that it's okay to be angry, but don't sin. You know, and so folks, when you see injustice, when we see things going on that aren't right, we need to get it. We need to get in the fight. And a lot of people will say, "Well, the Lord is coming back," and I believe that. Praise the Lord, but it doesn't mean that we have to sit back and watch our country be destroyed. You know, like it is.
Yeah, there is no room for that complacency. You know, not when children are at stake, not when our freedom is at stake. Yeah, and folks, they might be coming after our weapons and our freedom of speech and the platforms and everything, but they've been hitting hard at our religious freedom for a long time.
Oh yeah,
man.
oh yeah. We, matter of fact, that's one of the things I want to talk about this morning. I don't know if you guys, if you heard this morning, talking about our religious freedoms anyway, and these mandates that are coming out. I came across a news story this morning. One of the Washington State's college coach, Nick Rolovich, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. The head coach of Washington State is being fired.
Yeah.
Because he applied for religious exemption from getting the vax, and he's being removed along with 4 of his assistant coaches.
Wow, just for invoking religious exemption, man. And there's a lot of things that can be done, Manny, to distance a person in a sense of create some space between people. But hey, if folks are vaxxed and they got their masks on, and you're washing your hands, and what else did they tell us to do all that?
Distance and whatnot.
Yeah, use bleach and wipe and all that stuff. Come on.
Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. I mean, why are they removing people?
Yeah, it's non-compliant.
It's not compliant, and the reality is, I mean, it wasn't that the point supposed to be the point of the mask. I mean, you had Fauci all over the place telling people that the masks work, that social distancing works, and if you're vaccinated, doesn't that protect you from the unvaccinated, or supposedly anyway?
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I saw, Frank, which is amazing, because we have this Border Patrol has this mandate, right? Border Patrol, OFO, ICE as well, right?
Air Marine operations.
Yeah, Air Marine operations.
And really the entire federal government.
Right, until November 22nd, I believe.
So they need to be vaccinated by the 22nd. So depending on the particular vaccine, the manufacturer, the deadline passed the 11th of October. The 18th was another deadline yesterday.
Wow.
And so the next one is November 8th for the one dose, whatever that vaccine is. And we're not saying get it or anything. What we're talking about is, that
those are their
federal employees.
Right.
That's the line in the sand for federal employees. Right. Is either you get that last remaining vax, by the 8th, or about November 22nd, you're not vaccinated. You're looking at everything up to termination.
Wow, and that's sad. That's it's incredible, Frank. It's amazing to me that we have healthcare workers as well that are getting fired.
Yeah.
Looks like we may have federal agents federal employees that are going to be getting fired or terminated from their positions. I also just read that the Chicago Police Union as well has more than 3,000 officers that are defying the Chicago mayor's mandate as well. And I even got news a while back, a few weeks ago, that there may be over 1.5 million military members who are refusing to take the vax. And rightly so, folks. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm anti-vax. I'm not. If you want to get your vaccine, fine.
Yeah.
But this again, like we said over and over again, this is about our freedoms.
Yeah.
You compromise in that freedom, giving up that freedom. How much more are they going to expect you to compromise?
They take it away by increments, and sometimes they gobble it up like a shark, just by big mouthfuls. I just got a text last night. SD 51 failed to pass. That was if you remember, there was a big push here. That was a bill here in Texas that would protect us against mandates, Manny. And so it failed to pass. And so look, folks, a bill that was proposed, put on the table to protect Texans against mandates, failed to pass in a Republican-controlled state legislature. Let me say that again.
Oh my gosh!
A Republican state legislature, where the majority is by Republicans, failed to pass a bill that would protect Texans against mandates, man.
It'd be interesting to see which Republicans voted against that.
Yeah.
And I can only guess, but
Yeah,
I don't
well-
want to make any assumptions right now.
Well, and that was at the state level, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
State legislature, so it could have been any one of, yeah. I mean, it's going to warrant some further investigation. But here you go again, and that's why we started the broadcast here with you've got to get involved. You just have to get involved in political office. You know, we're doing our part. Just a shout out real quick to the Valverde Republican Party. I know that y'all need a lot of help. I'm still the chairman there. Contrary to the rumors of my demise, you know, I'm still there. And we need help, folks. You know, people get tired of having to pull all the weight by themselves. So if you live in Valverde County, you're angry, you're outraged, you're ticked off, you feel like you got to do something. Look, I know, you know, folks say, well, why do I get involved in politics? Because, man, you make decisions that affect the lives of others.
Right, just like the person we talked to the other day who was planning on running for mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it was at that point, right? At that point, where, you know, he said, "Hey, I'm tired of seeing our community, basically go down in flames."
Yeah.
You know, and the folks, that's what's happening. I mean, we saw what the mayor can do, what a mayor can do, Frank, when he shut down the border a few weeks ago, right, with all these legal aliens that were coming across and basically, you know, turning the POE into a refugee camp, right? I mean, boom, you hit the Mexico's commerce.
Yeah.
Mexico starts enforcing their laws, right? And so, folks, a mayor can do things if they have the courage to do it.
Yeah, he did it just it was a few hours, and he opened it up, and then CBP came in and closed it, you know, for those 2-3 days, however.
Right.
But yeah, the mayor did do it for a few hours until, of course, the pressure got so intense. And so, anyways, that's why we need gutsy, principled, you know, patriots in office at every level.
Right.
And so here it is, man. We're looking at this mandate. We need to remember, you know, folks might be saying, well, you know, it's just a few, you know, 100 federal agents, but those agents live in their communities. They invest in their communities, not just, you know, money at the local stores and food places, etc. They invest in the lives of their neighbors in that community, man.
Yeah.
A lot of our agents are very civically involved.
Oh yeah.
You know, not just the border patrol agents. We're talking about the blue shirts, CBPOs, officers at the ports of entry, air and marine operations, you know, the pilots and the vessel commanders. You know, they get involved. They're involved in their churches. They tithe. They donate. They're Sunday school teachers.
Right.
They get involved with that.
And some stay here like us. Like I stayed here. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not originally from Del Rio, but I love this community. I love the state of Texas. You know, and we remained here, right?
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
we
did you.
can't afford to lose them.
No, we can't.
We don't want to lose them. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of good people. And so that's part of it. And so nationwide, I mean, it's affecting every federal agency. You got friends in the Department of Interior and, you know, defense, you know, transportation, education. It's going to affect federal employees across the board. Now, there's something to be said about smaller government. There is. But at the same time, you know, the way that this is being done, you know, if you want to downsize federal government, and then you allow attrition, you allow, you know, retirement to come
but
into
you
play.
think but you let that go on its natural course, right?
Yeah.
You let that go on its natural course rather than these, you know, trying to impose these mandates. And like I said before, that in our last few broadcasts, unconstitutional mandates, exactly right. And like we said before, I've talked with agents, I've talked with other federal employees who were actually at one point willing to get to get vaxxed, but once it became mandated. Then they're like, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, and so that's one aspect. I mean, we could dive down into the science, you know, pro and con, all of that stuff, but it just, you know, this is, for me, it's the biggest measure here, Manny. You know, get jabbed or lose your job versus, venganse en todos. Come on, world, everybody come in, invade us. We're not gonna even worry about testing you guys.
Right,
and so that's the hypocrisy. But below the hypocrisy, Manny, is what is the real purpose for that? You know, why jab Americans, but yet people from all over the world get to walk in, you know, without even a concern.
Right. And from day one, since this border crisis hit, you and I, Frank, have been telling everybody that we can talk to, or that would listen anyway, that the majority of illegal aliens coming through, folks, are COVID positive, and unvaccinated and even untested. And so we really don't know how many have come through that are COVID positive, not just COVID positive, HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, chickenpox, all these things. And now a memo comes out. Well, some paperwork, not a memo, but some paperwork had come out by a whistleblower that over 16,000 illegal aliens have been released COVID positive. Right?
Yeah, those are the ones. Remember, we asked agents and other sources. What's a procedure for that? So if an alien was displaying symptoms, they asked for help. The agents noticed that they were coughing, hacking a lot, whatever.
Right.
Then that's where it went to the next level of, hey, this is potentially an infected person. But if they had it, they didn't even know about it. While they were in BP custody, and then turned over to ICE, and of course ICE didn't have the bed space and was under mandate by Alejandro Mayorkas to let him go, then Border Patrol had no choice.
Yeah.
They did what was the normal process, turn him over to ICE, and ICE was letting him go.
Without any mandate of getting vaxxed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no mandate for these illegal aliens, right?
And so we I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to
no,
cut
go
you
ahead,
off,
go
bro.
ahead.
But we've just been we've been through our sounding boards and the forums and the private chatter, behind the scenes that Border Patrol agents have. There's a very glaring absence of a voice, which is the chief of the Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, bro.
Yeah.
We need him to be fighting for the men and women. We can, and it's not saying that he's not doing it, perhaps, behind the scenes, but front and center, he needs to be speaking up, for the right of employees, federal agents, to not do something that they don't want to do with their body when it comes to their medical care, their medical health, bro. I saw, I'll be honest with you, I saw a sickening picture from Laredo sector, bro, of Chief Hudak out there, making a big to-do, sitting down and getting freaking jabbed, big picture, Laredo sector. Honestly, that sickened me, man. It did, bro.
Yeah.
We don't need that. The propaganda is what it is, bro.
No, especially when there's you have agents within your workforce, brother, who are vehemently opposed to this religiously, medically, conscientiously, and so why go and set up that propaganda? Basically is what it is. And if you want to get the vax, fine. That's what we're not opposed to that.
Yeah.
But stuff like that is basically reinforcing the threat.
Yeah.
That, hey, if you don't get this, like I'm getting it, you're gonna get terminated.
Yeah. There is that unspoken language, the imagery of that, bro. And so when I saw that, I was like, dang, man.
Like you and I were both in the military, and there was always that language, right? It would behoove you, it would behoove you if you do this or if you get this done. For those of you who are listening, who are veterans, been in the military, I'm pretty sure who are in the military right now, I'm sure you're familiar with that language. Anytime somebody told you, hey soldier, this would behoove you, you knew that. Well,
you better get it done.
Yeah, you better get it done, or something else is going to happen,
or not do it, whatever.
Yeah. But folks, it's amazing. It's amazing to me because we have this administration who is allowing all these illegal aliens to come in, and in my opinion, the whistleblower that came out and gave this information said more than 16,000 illegal aliens who tested positive for COVID, while in immigration custody, were released into the United States. Now these are the ones that were tested. Folks, the word that we get and from our sources in the Border Patrol and other agencies is that many of them are being released untested, but are displaying the symptoms. And so it's more than this. It's more than 16,000. Texas alone, I think, has apprehended 1.1 million illegal aliens since January.
That was the majority of the 1.4. The last time I looked at the records, at what's posted out there, it was. Texas was the biggest chunk of it, man.
Yeah, Texas was the biggest chunk of it. And what's amazing, folks, is that the cartels are utilizing the United States government and using the United States government, depending on the United States government and NGOs, non-governmental organizations, to further their smuggling operations. Yeah. Right? They're even encouraging people on Facebook, other social media sites, gathering them. They're crossing them illegally. And then basically telling them that they have a free ride once they get on the other side. And then I heard this morning on the news that now they're resettling illegal aliens in Tennessee, and also in suburban areas of New York.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So they're being spread out throughout the country. And that's what we've been trying to warn folks. And so what can people in those regions, what can those people up there do? You know, they can reach out to their state legislators, bro. They can start talking to the representatives at the state level, their state senators, and of course their congressmen and their U.S. senators and their governors even, reaching out to them and talking about, you know, they have a stake in this. They might be all the way up, you know, on the northern border, but eventually these illegal aliens are going to make it up there. They're going to be flown in by the Biden administration, transported into these areas. There was Loren. She just put out something on that. It's happening, bro. They're Tommy, whatever her name is. But anyways, they're. Why don't they just spell it, bro, the way it used to be spelled, man? All these variations on spelling now, man. Throwing X, Y's, and Z's in there and stuff. But anyways, I'm sorry, folks. Anyways, we know what's going on. They're being spread out throughout the country. It's gonna hit you at your home state. You need to get active. You need to get activated locally and be preemptive. You know, be proactive. Yeah. So that
and maybe be prepared to get confronted. You know, by law enforcement and things like that. I mean, we you know, you've been confronted. I've been confronted. You know. And I mean, the majority of the guys that the law enforcement we've talked to have been very respectful. There's always those one or two guys that shouldn't be in law enforcement. But
I had a great conversation with a trooper yesterday. It was brief, but a very professional, very cordial, man. And that's normally, you know, the way it goes.
Yeah.
But be prepared to be confronted, because once you start telling people the truth, everybody and their mother is going to crack down on you.
Oh yeah.
You know, if they're not on the side of truth. And that just reminds me of something, man. And I just got to throw it out here real quick, Manny. So we were all gearing up for this, you know, Kinney County next door to Valverde County was gonna stand up, you know, a defensive force.
Wow.
Well, politics got in the mix of it. I believe that's what happened, bro. I believe that when Governor Abbott got wind that a county on the border was going to take a stand for its citizens, and they were going to exercise their constitutional muscles, I really believe that Governor Abbott, that got on his radar screen, because it shows he's weak, he's ineffective, that he's just been pandering. You know, even this buildup of National Guard troops that we have here, bro. You know, we've been asking, are they here to repel the invasion? Or are they going to be gatekeepers, gate openers, and babysitters?
Right.
You know, without we saw this last time.
Without any ammunition.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm as soon as they stand up the facility, you know, all the stuff they got going on here, they got a public affairs office, so they need to put out, you know, okay, what's the mission agenda, the mission goal? Right. How are taxpayer dollars going to be spent by the National Guard troops that are in Del Rio? All we know is that the supposedly 1,500 coming in, they're going to be in Maverick and in in Del Rio, Valverde County, and that's why Kenny, you know, Kenny County's been dealing with the governor's office for months and months, and you know, nothing from them. And when they decided to, you know, do something about it, I watched the commissioner proceeding yesterday, the commissioner's court proceedings. The expectancy was to deputize hundreds of Texans,
which is an amazing idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's a constitutionally backed idea. Yeah. But instead, Commissioner's Court, the sheriff out there, decided to go with 10 reserve officers that they would activate on a 90-day rotation basis. And so there's a lot of folks out there left scratching their heads, and all I can think of is politics got in the way. Governor Abbott pulled strings. And what strings am I talking about besides the political influence, the political pressure, the state treasury, bro? Yeah. I mean, you know that these counties depend on money. Yeah. At the state level. Yeah. And so Governor Abbott was not going to be embarrassed with citizens standing up for their own. Instead, what he wants is for big daddy government, in this case at the state level, to get involved. But all we've seen from Abbott is pandering, folks. pretty vehicles all lined up in a row with blue and red lights flashing all nice in the night, but yet we know that they were being ineffective, and it was a gross mismanagement of Texas resources, Texas taxpayer fund mismanagement.
And the sad thing is that people have a right to protect their homeland. In Texas sovereignty. I mean, it's in the Constitution. It's in our state constitution.
Heck yeah, dude.
Psaki came out the other day and said that the federal government trumps state sovereignty, which is a lie. If the federal government lacks or fails in protecting any state, the state has the right and the authority constitutionally to stand up for itself and to protect itself and its sovereignty. And Texas, of course, was one of the greatest examples of that. We're always known as the Great Republic of Texas, right? Many, you talk to people all over the place when they find out you're from Texas, like, oh, you're from the another country, basically, right? Yeah. Because Texas has always had that image, that picture in people's minds, right? That freedom, and then here we are. So finally, people get an opportunity to uphold their homeland sovereignty, their freedoms, and to get shot down. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Yeah, there's 10 deputies that are going to be approved, but the reality is, folks, I've been talking with people that are basically moving out of their ranches. Yeah. They can't, or some can't leave their ranches because they keep getting broken into. We had some friends the other day that it was their third time
getting broken into
by illegal aliens, right? And they were there when the illegal aliens showed up, right? And the illegals still broke into their homes, bro, and without regard to law. And then I was hearing this morning that the cartels are basically laughing in the face of law enforcement because they know that that nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, my God, man. I mean, bro, how did the Nazi war machine roll across Europe? They were heavily mechanized, heavily armored, and thank God for the resistance that rose up in those nations, man. But here we are. They're signaling to us their move, folks. The Panamanian Prime Minister came over here, talked to Congress, talked to leaders, and told them there are tens of thousands of people coming through my country. Now, the word I got this morning, bro, is they cleared the Panama area. Now they're into Central America now. They came across that gap. Look at your maps, folks. They came across the gap, the bridge between South and Central America, and now they're moving up. Eventually, they'll be into Mexico.
And folks, if you don't, and you can say all day long, well, how come the Mexican government doesn't stop them? How come the local officials don't stop them? Folks, they get paid off. The cartels are facilitating their movement through Mexico, through Central America. They pay off all the officials up all until they reach the United States border, and then they cross. And then guess who facilitates the furtherance of their illegal immigration?
The cartels, man.
Yeah, and the United States government and these NGOs. Folks, I'm gonna keep telling you every broadcast. I am upset with the NGOs. I really am. Yeah. Because the reality is they're making big bank. Yeah. And also they're facilitating illegal immigration. Not only illegal immigration, but human sex trafficking. A lot of people don't realize, Frank, and we've said this before. If you're a first-time listener or viewer, a lot of these children that are coming over do not belong to these families.
Yeah,
they're fraudulent families. And so again, back to being able to protect our homeland.
Yeah,
it's constitutionally adequate and authorized to do so, and I'm very, very disappointed that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, bro, and so there's certainly room for more research and digging in. You know people over there, I know people over there. Yeah. We'll go over there and talk to folks and get in the weeds about this, because look, the status quo is what's killing us, man. Yeah. Business as usual, politics as usual. These are freaking existential times, folks. Our existence as a state, as a free nation, is at stake under this Biden administration, and the plan that they are unfolding as a steamroll right over our rights, right over our sovereignty. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people now marching up. And you said something about the NGOs. Look, there was a fluffy story written about this RV park that was just implemented down here, bro. That the Broke Mill RV park was sold. It was sold to a company called Home Solutions, And we were getting, inside information as to who owned it and all that stuff. So I did my research, Manny, and this Home Solutions, they own property along the border, and they own specifically hotels and man camp type of properties, and so they're banking on the state is gonna pay them to house National Guard troops. But guess where else they've been banking on, bro? Down in Carrizo Springs, where we have some good, friends and brother and sister in the Lord down there, and a faith community down there. This Home Solutions company that owns this park down here, renting to the state, has been banking off all the people working at the children's shelters down there in Carrizo Springs. Wow. There's I believe it's La Villita, and I'll throw it out there, folks. I'll post the pictures, but they own a hotel down there, and so you drive through there and you see those infamous white buses all parked in their parking lot.
Right.
So the workers at the children's shelters down there, which are being run by Baptist Child and Family Services under a contract to Health and Human Services, they're banking from the cartel business at this end, and now they're banking from the taxpayers' National Guard at this end, bro. Wow. So there's a lot of money to be made.
So do they even care about anybody? That
follow the money, brother.
Follow the money.
Entrepreneurship, capitalism. Maybe in its purity. I don't know. Why let a crisis go to waste, man? If you can make money, being part of the cartel pipeline over here, and make money over here from standing up to defend our nation over here.
Yeah. What was it? I think that Marx Brothers movie Duck Soup. Why let a good war go to waste? Right. Yeah.
And look, before people freaking squawk and blow their heads over this, I'm not saying that the ownership is in bed with the cartels. That's not what I'm saying, folks. But what I'm saying is just look at the irony and why this problem is not going to freaking stop while we have unprincipled, immoral, unscrupulous politicians in control. The Health and Human Services, federal government got billions of dollars, and they gave it out to non-government organizations. Baptist Child and Family Services in Carrizo Springs is running that facility down there as part of that facility. I saw the emergency operations vehicle leaving that facility when I was down there and got assaulted. But anyways, and so that they have to find space for all those out of town workers in Carrizo Springs, and that's why the price of hotels skyrocketed. Wow. Triple the normal price or whatever. And that one of the properties owned by this very company that just bought the RV park, they own a hotel. It's full of the big white buses because that's where the drivers sleep at, and that's where the workers at this HHS facility sleep at when they're not working there, bro. So there's money to be made from both sides. And another example of that is we've all seen those white buses. We've all seen one company in particular win, WYNNE, up and down the roads. Well, the other day I was at the National Guard camp there at Valverde Park Fairgrounds, and lo and behold, there goes a big white bus leaving that facility, that encampment with wind on the side. So the bus companies have been transporting illegal aliens, are now going to be transporting our National Guard troops, bro. There's money to be paid on both sides of the coin, man.
That's insane. And the sad thing is, like, you can't make this stuff up.
You can't make it up, and that's why it's not gonna stop, man. Yeah. There's too much money. Everybody's making money. The only people that are freaking losing money in this are the plain folks like us, man. Just want to make a living. Just want to enjoy life in America. Want to retire with a pension. Want to put our kids through school and be able to feed them, clothe them, and have health care. We're the ones that are losing out all the time, and it's the political games. Biden betrayed us, Abbott abdicates, and now the counties, man, are freaking. I don't know what's going on, man, but it's politics. It's politics and it's money.
And it's sad. It's sad because people are calling this a humanitarian crisis, but eventually it's going to be the American people that are going to be suffering humanitarianly because we're not going to be able to afford to put our kids in school. We're not going to be able to afford to get them good medical care. Folks, over 1.1 million since January have been apprehended in the state of Texas alone. Now, that's apprehended and then released, right? What we have, you count the gotaways, and I guarantee you it's either 1.1 million or more.
Yeah.
right, that have gotten away and are settling and resettling in communities in not only here in Texas but throughout the United States, taking advantage of our resources, human sex trafficking, drug smuggling, criminal activity. I just got news this morning that over 88 gangs of affiliated illegal aliens, gang-affiliated illegal aliens have been apprehended here in Texas alone. Yeah. 88 gang-affiliated illegal aliens, and a lot of them have been released, right?
Yeah, and bro, that's just the tip of the iceberg, Manny. I mean, there's all kinds of folks, the ones that are getting around, getting away, all the Mexicans that are, the Mexicans know they're going to be returned.
Right.
And so they're not getting a free ticket like the Haitians and the, the Africans and the South Americans. So the Mexicans are trying to skirt, go around. But real quick, before I forget this point, there's a lot of money being made in this. The United Nations is down in Mexico helping facilitate the movement of these people. The United Nations just recently, bro, I think it was last Friday or a couple of Fridays ago, Biden is working with a global security infrastructure plan, bro, with the United Nations. So, folks, you need to start doing your research on the United Nations. I forget the exact name of it, man, but it's the Global Security Infrastructure Network or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's not good, man. United Nations involved in anything is not good. You need to see what that means for the United States. But I bet you a freaking $1 million, which I don't have, Manny. It has to do with the weakening, dissolving of our sovereignty, and the undermining and washing down of our constitutional freedoms. It has everything to do with that, bro.
I agree. The United Nations has proven over and over again, Frank, that they're anti-American. Yeah. They're anti-Israel. They're anti-freedom.
Yeah, and before I forget, man, because I tend to follow all these bunny trails, bro. What I meant to say, folks, was, we got a lot of people involved, a lot of money. But how is it that this company, swoops in, buys this RV park, just in time for the National Guard to come in?
The timing is amazing, Frank. It seemed like it was under cover of night, right? I mean,
I'm not in no way questioning, bro. The I don't know the owners or anything. I'm just an outsider looking in. But all of a sudden, the company gets sold. And only the players are going to know this. So look, folks, this is opinion-based freaking, time here. Yeah. You guys can do your research. You guys can make your phone calls and everything. But look, as outsiders looking in, this is the way I'm thinking it works, bro. People know people.
Yeah.
People are connected. People have been working on and getting contracts for a long, long time. People have been making money specifically off this invasion. So people are connected as they talk to, all the contract managers, the COTARs, the technical representatives that work out these contracts and do the statements of work and all that stuff. And hey, guess what? We need a big facility down in Del Rio. Maybe you can, here's a little tidbit. I don't know how it works, but I think about, or I have a clue about how it works. But anyways, I think about Peter and Kehlani Perez down there in Carrizo Springs, bro. They own a business. It's a water. They sell water basically, and bro, they've been approached. They were approached by those facilities down there, and they said no. This is an opportunity to make tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, bro. Yeah. But we have, thank God, we have principled people of faith that will not give in, bro.
Yeah.
To the money.
Oh, brother,
their God is not mammon.
Yeah, I've been on the phone.
God bless y'all.
Yeah. God bless you, Peter and Kalani. Yeah. I've been on the phone also with pastors, other religious leaders, rabbis, as well here in the state of Texas that have been approached by the government, to house illegal aliens, to provide, not really sanctuary, but to provide places where they can distribute food, clothing, all these things, and they've been promised big bank. Yeah. Big money, but thankfully, many of these, the ones that I've talked to, said that tell the government no, we're not going to do it, because what ends up happening is the government starts to dictate how you're going to operate.
Yeah,
and then, God willing, this all ends. What are you going to be left with?
Yeah.
And you're gonna be left with a mess. The government doesn't pick up anything, and it's amazing to me. Frank, I didn't even know that Broke Mill, right? Broke Mill, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That RV park was
Yeah.
for sale. To tell you the truth, I didn't see
Yeah.
any signs, I didn't see any postings, anything like that. And then from one day to the next, all of a sudden, boom, the National Guard is moving in there. They're clearing it out.
Yeah.
And folks, I'm not opposed to National Guard being here, but the thing is that it's kind of interesting to me that why are they here, and when the mission has, the mission is unclear.
Yeah. And so that's why we, folks reach out. We need to reach out to public affairs. We need to reach out to them, and hopefully we don't get a runaround as we do with so many other, government entities. But anyways, look, folks, entrepreneurship, it's a part of America, bro.
Right.
But my God, this is an invasion.
Yeah.
An invasion. And so
at the cost of freedom.
At the cost of freedom, the Perez down there had a choice, and they said, no, we're not going to compromise. We are not going to be part of the problem, which is why we had the rallies to shut down these centers, because we knew it was going to encourage further illegal immigration, welcoming them, by taking in the children was going to be just an invitation. Now, before people freaking scream about, well, what about the children? Look, folks, children belong with their parents. That's a God-ordained way, man.
Yeah.
It's the way he made it. And so it was immoral for us to encourage the separation of children from their families, bro.
Right.
It was immoral, especially when we know that they're coming to the leading state in the union in sexual human trafficking, bro.
Right.
I mean, why are we gonna freaking tell little kids to go play in the wolf's den?
Right.
Keep them at home, man.
Yep.
Keep them at home.
We have a local rhino representative that has encouraged that as well. I'm not gonna fail to mention Tony Gonzalez on this broadcast either.
Yeah.
Because he's encouraged with the illegal immigration, with the desire to build detention facilities and also fly people out of Laughlin Air Force Base.
He wanted to build 4 mega processing centers to speed up, quadruple the speed of people getting released.
Right.
Man.
And apparently his idea was to keep track of the children, which is the reality is ridiculous, because you're not going to be able to keep track of them. A lot of these children don't belong to these adults that are coming across, and they're going to get lost in the system, and be utilized for sex trafficking and other things.
I'd seen and heard. I need to post it up there. I've seen and heard, bro. Something up to 40% of these children are just getting lost into the system.
Yeah.
They don't know where they wind up at.
Yeah.
And I'd venture to say it's every freaking evil thought under the sun that's
even
where they're winding up
even
at.
when we were in the patrol, Frank, and we turned them over to the consulate of their countries, they didn't know where they ended up.
Yeah, and we worked with the juvenile coordinator here in Coahuila, Cunha, and it was a good about Professor Lara, I believe it was. But anyways, he'd come over and I know he would do his due diligence, man. He'd want to find out who they were, and they'd go look at birth certificates and stuff. But that I would say that was probably the exception, bro. A lot of these children, and I'll be honest with you. After he was gone, I felt uncomfortable sometimes training those children over.
Oh, I did too.
To grown men,
I really did.
adults over there, not knowing what was going to happen to those children.
Yeah, I know we used to have to follow them to the bridge to make
bridge.
sure that they didn't go anywhere else. But once they got across that bridge, who knows? Because we kept seeing recycled children.
Yeah.
Coming through again with
we called them the squinkles. They were just the local kids, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's part of it. Real quick, and I know, man, we went all over the place here, but hey, to the men and women in uniform, this thought came in. Look, you guys are expendable. I hate to say that, Manny, but we knew it in the military. We know it in government. They'll talk about essential, and they'll talk about all that stuff. But at the end of the day, unless you have a really principled leader that really cares about the men and women under their charge, you got to consider yourselves as you're on the chopping block, and so you need to be doing what you got to do, to survive, to be able to feed your kids and pay your bills, man. And so, but look, this is what ideally I hope this is the way it turns out, Manny, that those religious accommodation requests will be honored, bro.
Yeah.
Border Patrol specifically, the majority of the time they work alone.
Yeah.
They work alone in a vehicle. They have minimal impact contact with the public.
Right.
And when they do make contact with anybody, you know, it's usually the illegal aliens, and those folks are infected with every freaking conceivable disease under the sun, anyways, man.
Yeah, and we're still getting agents, brother, that have been vaccinated that are still getting sick.
Yes.
You know, we
look at Colin Powell, man.
Yeah, look, Colin Powell, fully vaccinated. People can say, well, he was 84 years old, but folks, the idea is that the vaccination is supposed to protect those who are at risk, including the elderly. You know, and so I'm not, you know, I met Colin Powell years ago when I was in the Army. I was really impressed with his story, coming up from poverty and then, you know, attaining the rank of General Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is the highest ranking officer in the United States military. But then, of course, he became, you know, basically a rhino, you know, in the politics, and it was saddened me. And I'm not, you know, saying that it isn't a sad occasion that he passed away due to this, because we've lost, I think, this past year, 16 or 17 Border Patrol agents alone, you know, which has been the highest ever, you know, since the inception of the United States Border Patrol in 1 year, on line of duty deaths anyway. Yeah. You know, due to COVID, because all these are being counted as line of duty deaths.
Well, good. I mean, because that's probably where they got infected with dealing with all these
exactly.
people.
And but the thing is that the majority of them not the majority of them, but quite a few of them have been were fully vaccinated, and then, you know, still getting sick. Folks, it's ridiculous. It's sad, especially when you know, agents and OFO officers don't have their management backing them up.
And so there needs to be pressure exerted.
Well, I mean local management. I'm talking about higher.
Yeah.
You know, higher management.
And I went, you know, the other day I went and did a video there in front of the sector and asked, you know, folks, you need to contact your state legislators, your federal level legislators, because look, folks, November 22nd is going to be the day of reckoning, you know, as to what's going to happen with these federal employees across the federal employee spectrum.
Right.
You know, and when you consider the totality of the, you know, U.S. population, they're a small percentage of it, but in the communities that they live in and the interaction that they have, you know, in the lives of others, that's a significant loss to lose those people. Yep. And so, you know, I just want to throw this out there, man. I want to throw this out there that, you know, politicians respond to pressure. And so they need to know what that loss is going to be like, folks. They need to know what November 2nd, 22nd is going to look like when you lose hundreds, if not thousands, of frontline border defenders, whether they're in green or blue or brown, you know, the colors of CBP. You know, upper management and the politicians need to know. So pick a date and stay home sick. And show them what it's going to be like on November 22nd. Now, hey, look, man, I mean, they don't care. They don't care if on November 22nd half of you are gone. They don't care already, Manny. The termination is on the chopping block. You know, it's there. It's on the table. They're going to terminate you get vaccinated or not. So give them a freaking taste of their own medicine. Yeah. Pick a date. Don't show up. Let them know what it's going to be like on November 22nd.
And all I can say is, you know, and I don't know what the chief is doing, bro, but I'm just saying, if I were the chief for a day, bro, I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs. Yeah. You know, I'd be standing up.
This is wrong.
And this is wrong. This is unconstitutional. You know.
You can't hire people under a contract. You know, they're going to. And the contract says you're going to work. You're going to freaking put your life on the line every day that you go out there. You don't know what dangers are out there. You're putting it on the line. You might not make it home at the end of the shift. Your family might have to move on without you. You don't get into a contract with people, you know, and at the end of all that danger, men and women, you're going to retire to a pension, to the benefits, and you don't pull the rug out from under them, man. Yeah. That's freaking treachery. That's low-life scummery, man.
It is. You know, and then you have to also think about the local impact. When I was on the patrol, and I believe it's still the same way, Frank, we outnumbered local law enforcement. Yeah. You know, so what I'm saying by that, folks, is that we backed up local law enforcement a lot. Yeah. You know, local law enforcement depends on the presence of
a lot of times we're the only law enforcement.
We're exactly right. And I've even responded to medical emergencies, you know, where ambulances couldn't get to, you know.
Ambulance.
Yeah. because we know the area. Yeah. But folks, you got to get out there and you got to raise your voices up, because this is completely unfair.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's unjust and it's unfair, Manny, that our federal employees are gagged.
Yeah.
You know, their hands are tied. And so that's why you and I are being pretty boisterous and vocal about this, because we're speaking for the guys that stayed behind. We don't leave them behind.
Yeah.
You know, they're back there holding the line.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying, you know, so the final deadline for vaccination is November 8th. You have to get the November 8th vaccine, whatever that is, because you have to be fully vaccinated by November 22nd. So what would happen if all of a sudden across the nation on November 8th, there was just, folks got sick.
Yeah.
And just give them a glimpse of what November 22nd is going to look like. When traffic backs up, when pedestrian traffic can't come across, when vehicles can't be inspected, when container ships can't be inspected. Yeah, people always say, oh my God, national security. Folks, they don't care about national security.
I was watching the news the other day. We got a few minutes left. I was
Walk
watching,
out November 8th.
I was watching the news the other day, and the backlog of what's at the ports right now is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, but then I saw somebody posting, you know, well, if we would have used American products initially, there wouldn't be a backlog.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
We'll just follow the natural, follow that thread. Exactly. We have manufacturing here in our country.
Yeah.
If the Bushes hadn't pushed, for NAFTA and all that crap back then,
Right.
And Clinton, we'd have manufacturing here. It's greed.
Right.
Greed. And I've always said it, ideology and greed are destroying our nation, bro.
The greatest nation in the free world, Frank.
And we were built on manufacturing, we came across, we expanded, etc. World War II, we geared up, the war machine, and produced and rose to prominence and rose to power. There's a lot of nuances to that, of course.
Yeah,
folks.
and I agree with this. I want to see this comment right here, by Agapito Rodriguez. The vax is not even federal law. Exactly right. It hasn't been voted on. Yeah. But the reality is, the sad thing is that they're imposing it. And they're utilizing it, and it's becoming policy in a lot of areas. I also want to just do a real quick shout out. I don't even know if he listens to the show, but Dan Bongino.
Oh yeah, hey Dan.
He also I don't know if you heard, but he's giving Cumulus Radio an ultimatum.
Yeah.
They're requiring a mandate of their employees, and he said it's either me or the vax, and so he's threatening on leaving or accepting termination. Because he's opposed to mandated vaccinations.
Wow.
He's not opposed to the vaccine, getting the vax. Yeah. He's opposed to mandated vaccinations, just like we are. And so he's even saying that he's giving them an ultimatum, and that he says, I believe these vaccine mandates are unethical. He goes, I believe they're immoral. I believe they don't take into account the science of natural immunity due to prior infection. And he goes, I believe they're broad-based and don't take into account the individual circumstances of why they may or may not want to take any vax, and they're antithetical to everything I believe in. Yeah. And so it's pretty interesting. It's pretty amazing. He's a pretty big voice right now in conservative radio, and for him to stand up like that and give an ultimatum, I think it's pretty brave.
Yeah, and that's what we need is bravery. We need courage, folks. And somebody would say, well, it's easy for you to say. You got your pension, you're retired. Look, folks, it's affecting us.
Yeah.
We have family members that still work for the federal government. It's affecting us. We're concerned for them. And we're outraged, man, at the freaking unconstitutional actions of this administration. But I'm also just as angry as our elected officials and those that come around freaking begging for our vote, begging for our money, begging for our work, and put out yard signs and go out and knock on doors. Yep. Only to sell us out and freaking not even stand up when they need you to stand up. And I'm speaking specifically to Tony Gonzalez, bro. He was endorsed by the Border Patrol National Union.
And where is he?
Has he said anything in defense of Border Patrol agents? Has he said, don't fire them, let's give them a stay? Has he gone anywhere to fight for the men and women of the Border Patrol, the union?
And from what I understand, he has constitutional lawyers at his...
well, and he's exempt, bro. Congress is exempt. It's for the executive branch that this mandate's being imposed on. So they're exempt. Them and their staff are exempt. So they have no skin in the game, man.
Wow.
And so remember, November 8th. Just don't go to work. Give them a taste of what November 22nd is gonna look like, and perhaps that might be finally where somebody says, look. If we had 1% of the workforce not show up, and look at what happened to commerce, to the ports, to inspections at airports, inspections at seaports. Imagine if we lose 30, 40, 50% of the workforce.
Yeah.
Hey, you heard it from me. Who am I, man? Who am I? I'm not your direct boss. I'm not your commander. But, just don't go to work November 8th and give them a taste of their own medicine. They can't say it's a national security issue when they just let in freaking millions of illegal aliens, and when they're willing to terminate you anyways. What do you got to lose?
Yeah,
Anyways.
or go on annual leave or something like that during that time. Anyway, folks, we
Go
got
get the vax.
Yeah, folks, we got to get going. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind you rather quickly.
Don't get the vax.
We have our website, tacoboutalive.com. We're still updating as we go along, but you can go on our website, catch up on our broadcast as well. We're already on episode 16, so we're really excited about that. Folks, we appreciate your support. We also have a donate button. We want to get some more equipment, so we can go out there and do some live broadcasting. And so we have some big plans, coming up with Talk About It Live. But you can go on there, read some articles, email us with your comments, with your questions, with your concerns, anything like that. So, folks, we thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time with us this morning. If you haven't got your tacos, go out and get some tacos. It's Taco Tuesday. Don't let Taco Tuesday go to waste, right?
Yeah. Yeah, mine's cold here, so I'm going to have to nuke it real quick. But
So folks, again, let me put up our outro over here, if I can find it.
Yeah.
And so, but
real quick, thanks for joining, folks. Thanks for just being here, listening to what we got to say. I mean, you could be doing other things. Spread the word, share the knowledge. Encourage each other. Prepare your families. Pray.
Yeah.
Pray for our nation. Pray for our leaders. Pray for yourselves. And there's a lot of folks. I've spoken with folks, Manny, that. And I'm not, if you got the vax, you got the vax. But there's a lot of folks that are expressing regret about having gotten it. They didn't know. They were, at the initial stages of it, they were convinced by doctors and friends and family, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're concerned. They're experiencing symptoms, bro.
Yeah.
Things that they hadn't dealt with before, but that they can say, ever since I got it, I started having breathing issues, enlarged heart, clotting, whatever. So let's pray for those folks that will.
And again, it's up to you folks. Me, it's for religious exemptions, religious purposes. I it's not just this vax that I'm opposed to. It's others as well because of religious reasons.
Yeah.
But what I am against is any mandated vax.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Because even if it's just for something, if it's something else that's mandated, as long as it continues to impose on my freedoms, I don't want it.
Yeah, for me, I'm scared of needles.
Folks, we want to thank you again so much. God willing, we'll be here next week on Taco Tuesday. So God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Texas.
God bless you.